Welcome everybody to another episode of Edge of the Rabbit Hole. I am Mike Ricksecker, author and ghost story, and with me, as always, is Vanessa Hogle, another author, of course, from Modern Road Media and psychic medium as well. And our guest tonight is Peter Haviland. He's a hypnotherapist and paranormal investigator, and very, very experienced in the field. He's been around a long time, and looking forward to talking about his experiences. But first, let's see. We have a lot of people down in the chat room already. Let's see. We got Carrie Parrish down there, Donna Gorton, Tracy Kramer. I saw Diane Hilbert in there before. I know Robert White was on like an hour ago.
No, he was just on a minute ago too.
Yeah, he's there as well. So a lot of people already in the chat. We appreciate it. We'll get to all the shout-outs, of course, as we go through the show. But where we are going to start, and I know a lot of people have been asking about it for a long time now. Well, of course, there's Ghosty. So, again, if you haven't got your Ghosty, get your Ghosty.
I got mine! Hey!
And, yeah, Vanessa finally has hers back behind her. But we also have the T-shirts. Edge of the Rabbit Hole T-shirts. I know you guys have been looking forward to those. The Mad Hatters. All you Mad Hatters, this is for you. If I can get it straight in. There we go. I think we got it right.
Yes, you do.
All right.
I'm here to tell y'all people, if I can get that tattooed on my leg, you can wear it on a T-shirt.
There you go. And Vanessa did. She got a tattoo of Mad Hatters.
I got a tattoo commemorating our show and dedicating it to our Mad Hatters.
Yeah.
So it is a permanent brand on my person.
Yeah, that's some conviction right there. Vanessa's getting a tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
to get your damn T-shirt.
Yeah. It honors you guys. So.
Yes. I love y'all.
Yep. And of course, I'm drinking my green tea, which hey, and there's Shana, our chat Shananigator. She is in the chat room. She's gonna shake things up down there. She got a T-shirt today as well. If you're paying attention to Facebook today, then you saw this afternoon that Shana posted her selfie with the T-shirt. So, yep.
See? Hey!
There goes Vanessa.
Yeah, I'm pathetic.
And Veronica Flores says, "Love your show." Thank you, Veronica. We love you guys. That's why Vanessa's getting a tattoo of the Mad Hatters.
Yeah, for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's on my Facebook, and it's right there on the gam, y'all. Everybody can see it right there on the front. So I look down and I think of y'all all the time. Now don't get perv on me, okay?
Don't get pervy on Vanessa, and don't get pervy on Shana either. If you do, I'll have to come kick your ass.
So. Enough of that stuff. Sorry.
So, some good news, since I was tossing up the green tea and, kind of alluded to some, turn it around, and alluded to some healthy stuff. Some good news, they got some blood work in the other day. A lot of you know that I have the liver issue going on, and the enzyme levels are lower. They're still a little bit elevated, but lower than they were back in the fall. So headed in the right direction. And thank you for all those who, when that was made public, a lot of you, were sending positive energy my way and all that. So I really want to thank you, and I appreciate all that because things are headed in the right direction. Got a lot of work left to do, but it's positive. So
when that wine glass is within reach, you can do it. I've got faith in your mind.
Yeah. And I am going to celebrate with a glass of wine, whenever that gets under there. So I go back for that checkup on the liver into August. So, or it might be beginning of September, somewhere around there. So in any case, enough of all that. Let's get into our show for the evening. We got a great guest out tonight, Peter Haviland. He is he's a hypnotherapist. So I really want to get into to that. He's also he's been a paranormal investigator for a long, long time. One of the first paranormal groups in Texas. So he predates like all the shows and everything, which is really, really cool. So we're going to talk about some of that. So Peter, thank you for joining us tonight.
Hey, great to be here. Glad we could finally hook up.
Yeah, I know. We tried a couple times in the past, and there were technical issues. There were even some technical issues tonight, if you can believe this. Peter's hard drive crashed, and so he's calling in on Skype on his phone. That's why he has a dog pick up there.
It's a great looking dog.
I wasn't going to let it go this time. We needed to get this done.
Yeah, this is 3 times the charm.
That's what they say.
Right. So, Peter, why don't you go ahead for our guests who don't, know you so well? Why don't you give a little bit of background info? Kind of about your experiences, your just kind of give us a little bio of yourself, really.
Yeah.
Well, I had my first experience when I was about 12 years old. I was watching monster movies downstairs in my parents' house, and the room got cold. My dog sat up and alerted and kind of turned around and looked at the stairs coming down in my parents' house. And when I looked up there, I saw my grandfather walking down the stairs, solid as you or I, and he had passed the year before. So I had gotten up and I walked over there and I watched him come down the stairs, and there was no sound. There was no shuffling, no anything. It was just like watching a movie without sound. And then he made a left and went into the hall closet, which is weird in itself too. I opened the door, not expecting to see him there, and he wasn't there. But there was a medallion that he had brought over from Italy that hung in 2 of his houses. So that was that point in time that I kind of got the idea that he walked towards his possession, which later on through study about energy and things like that, then I learned that he was walking towards something that had his energy on it. From then on, I just started studying everything I could on haunted houses and ghosts. And for a while there, going through junior high and high school, I was known as the ghost boy. You couldn't catch me without a book on something. When I was in high school, it ended up starting to get into some parapsychology. I had a really cool teacher that allowed me to write on things of parapsychology, and as long as it was within the curriculum. When I got into college, same thing. I took some psychology courses, and they allowed me to do that too. And I would have not have gotten to be able to do that unless I sat down and talked to my professor and talked to my teacher in high school and told them that I was real passionate about it, and they wanted to support me on it. I have been going into homes since the age of 20. When I was first 20, of course, there's really not a whole hell of a lot you can do besides observe and comfort. I had one case when I was 20 that there was a lady that I had heard that had noises in the upstairs of her home, and I heard that through a friend of mine. And after I had found out where she lived, I went up and I knocked on her door, and introduced myself and told her what my interests were, and asked her if I could observe to see what was going on, and she was really cool about it. So I started going over there many times a week, and one time she had told me that she was getting ready to move, and she was packing and stuff, and after she told me she was going to move, the library upstairs, I heard something like a box falling. So I went upstairs, went in the door, turned the corner, and I had a book thrown at me. The book was Gone with the Wind. That
was a big book that was thrown at you.
Yeah, it was a hard book. It was a hardback. It was a first edition. It was heavy.
Damn.
Yeah. So go figure. But through the years, I would go to home. I would observe, and and I would just learn how things work. I found that Lone Star Spirits was looking to form, and I brought my experiences with them, and became their lead investigator. And there was like 5 of us that founded it on a Halloween, and I think it was '96. And our presence started in '97 on the web, and it's just been going from there. The hypnotherapy part of it is that I wanted to get into helping police with cold cases.
Oh, okay.
And I've had the opportunity to do that, and through doing that and learning, there's a lot of things that we do, that we make ourselves. Okay, hauntings. Through stress and traumatic events, and I've learned that quite a bit through the studying of parapsychology, as well as what hypnotherapy does, and have come to the point now of kind of marrying the two, and relieving trauma and stress in folks that are having issues with their homes, and I've had hauntings stop. So that tells me right there that a lot of what we experience is created by us through our subconscious, and that's kind of where I am in a nutcase.
You said it, Peter.
We're all a little mad here.
Yeah.
Okay. I have 2 questions for you. One, going back to your grandfather.
Okay.
That house he didn't live in, correct? You just saw him in the house you were living in, correct?
Correct. Yeah, he visited us quite a bit.
If you can think back to the house he did live in, would his line of walking make sense?
No, because the houses that he built, it was in New York, and they were first floor, and they had basement, but I've seen him walk downstairs and from the basement, and it wasn't anything like that. When he stayed over at my parents' house, and the guest room was upstairs, so I think it was more along the lines of him coming down from being in the guest room.
Okay, so I was trying to figure out why he would go into the closet.
Yeah, and I've been trying to think of that for years, and the only thing I can think of is just the energy of the medallion that he brought over from Italy.
Very well could be.
Other than that, why would anybody do a closet?
Well, I don't know. Some closets are big and they got cool stuff in them. I don't know.
I don't know. I saw a shadow person run into the linen closet, so go figure that.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Now, the other question that I had is in regards to us kind of bringing the hauntings on ourselves due to trauma, high stress levels, and such. Do you find that people who have had traumatic childhoods and lots of physical trauma and emotional trauma tend to be more sensitive to this?
It's not so much as being sensitive to that, is more if they're in a situation that triggers that subconsciously through either a person or some type of a sensory object, is what I've found that usually creates the recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis or poltergeist activity.
Okay. I had 4.
I mean, to give you an example, I had a lady that had just moved out of her home. She just got divorced, and she found out that her husband was he had put a whole bunch of cameras in the house and was watching her over the internet, and would call her and say, "Why did you do this when you're supposed to do that?" So she was like really freaked out that she had that happen to her. So when she moved into her new home, it was just her. So she became really hypersensitive because of basically he trained her to be to do whatever he wanted. And I put her under at her home and released all of the issues of her being uncomfortable in her home, and also replaced it with a positive reality that every time you're at home you feel safe and secure, and every day it gets better and better. And after I did this, she had no issues after that.
Oh, good.
That's interesting. That's and that makes sense, though, Mike. I mean, especially with what you and I were discussing earlier. When somebody has been under a controlling hand like that, even for a short period of time, it can have a psychological effect.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, it can.
Very interesting. I never would have thought about that way. Huh. Good to know.
Yeah, I get in a lot of arguments with folks about that because they seem to think that they seem to think that I think that everything is RSPK. It's not, but a good portion of it is. Due to the times that we're in today, the stressors that we're under, relationships aren't like they used to be.
Yeah.
And a lot of people tend to they swallow all that emotion still, and that's the emotion that comes out through the subconscious and manifests, and it looks almost like a haunting. But when you do an interview with somebody and you kind of understand and you delve into what the issue is, and you look at the trends of what they're dealing with, like what happened before, was there an argument, what were you thinking about before? Once you start looking at the trends, you start to see what the triggers are, and 9 times out of 10, the triggers are what we do.
Yeah, we had a case in Maryland a few years back where it was a teenage girl, and the activity that was going on in the house was always, when she was around, and some sort of stress situation was happening at the house, and so essentially she was creating her own poltergeist activity. So it sounds like it's very similar to what you're talking about there.
Yeah, well, then you got the angst of a teenager, and they're growing up. You have all of the things that go on with that.
Right.
Plus, all the trauma and drama of being a teenager. So yeah, they manifest more than most, but yeah, it can be a mess.
Now, I have a question. You said 9 times out of 10 that ends up being the case, that they're kind of creating their own paranormal situation, so to speak.
It's consciously you don't know that, but yeah.
What about the times when they aren't? Are you able to step in on a different platform?
Yes, I am.
That? Okay, and how would you go about doing that?
Oh, then you have what looks like that looks to be an intelligent haunting, which is the conscious mind having survived death. So when you're dealing with something like that, and you find out when you deal with something like that, I use a medium to contact them, and I get reference points, names, dates, places, and events of who we're dealing with. Research it to find out if that's the actual person. A lot of times, it's hard to get full names and things like that because it's just partial. But when you can get something that's researchable, then you see that you're dealing with an intelligence there. And the really weird part about it is if you're dealing with an intelligence and you're not dealing with a whole person, you're dealing with shards of the memory. I tend to think of it as like just before death, especially traumatic death, the memory or the mind kind of does a dump of where they're at, and you kind of get bits and pieces of what they were in. A lot of the times, it's the last moments of their life. It could be, what the hell is the word? Unfinished business. It could be unfinished business, where that's what they were so worried about that getting done, or getting information to somebody that could be the information that you get. But if you're dealing with that, then I deal with a medium to try to talk them through to pass to the other side. Now you have place memory, which is us being being, people that leave our imprints everywhere we go, through the energy that we have, and through repetition. Then you have place memory, which is the stuff that replays over and over again, like a tape recorder. It could be footsteps up and down the stairs all the time at midnight. It could even be a visual of somebody that might have been pacing in a hallway, but they don't react to you. That's the difference between the intelligence and the place memory. Is that if it reacts to you, it's probably intelligent. If it doesn't react to you, it's probably place memory. Right. And that is psychic selves picking that up.
Hey Peter, we have a question from the chat room real quick, and it's about the type of hypnotherapy that you do. This is from Joanne Rubino. She asks, if Peter would put me under, could he bring out why I can't remember some of my childhood?
Yes, I could.
Okay.
And what I would first do is I would remove any and all blockages for the memories of your childhood. Chances are, and I don't know the case, but I'm just talking. It might have been something that you were not meant to remember because it was too traumatic, or so I would try to release that in a kind and loving way, as in making it third person, so you see it as a movie instead of reliving it. I'm a firm believer that you don't have to relive something to learn something from it. You've already lived through it once. Why live through it again? So that's kind of what I would do.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Well, we have about 30-second delay, so we'll see if she responds and that answers her questions.
Okay.
So what he's saying makes sense. I have a very bad Swiss cheese memory of my childhood. Very bad. It's minuscule what I can remember, but I also had four extremely traumatic physical events, all before the age of 2.
Right.
One which resulted in me having to be resuscitated. I have scar tissue on my brain because of another. So,
Thank God you're here.
Yeah.
You know what, honey? It's a surprise. I'm telling you. I'm
She's
shocked
a survivor.
But yeah, and with my abilities, the more scar tissue I get on my brain, the more they seem to enhance. And I was wondering, do you know about any connection with that? Have you found anything like that?
Honestly, I don't know. I'd have to look into that.
Please do, because I would love to know.
That sounds really interesting. I'd like to look into that, and I can get back with you on it.
I appreciate that. I really do. I did a vlog on that because I really wonder if there is a connection with head trauma and psychic abilities. And I've had multiple head traumas. Multiple. And it just, even my scar to this day still hurts. I've got a scar about 1 inch long on my forehead, and we didn't even know I had scar tissue on my brain until I was in my 20s. And then the seizures. So it's I would be very interested to know if there is any kind of connection there. Because I would rather it be that than, ooh, I was touched by the hand of God. Yeah. No. Just tell me that I'm nuts because I got a big old cut in my head. And that's why I can feel shit. So, just...
All right. We have
I'll find it out and I'll send it to you.
All right. We have another question from the chat room.
Thank you.
This is from Shana. She asks, is it possible to hypnotize a spirit with intelligent energy?
If it is intelligent, probably, but I have never done it, so I couldn't tell you yes or no.
But theoretically, that might be possible?
In theory, yes, but as I said, I've never done it, so I don't know how to answer that.
Okay. Fair enough. Not everybody knows everything. We were talking about that earlier. But it's an interesting concept. Could you hypnotize a spirit?
I'm sorry?
I said it is an interesting question, though. Could you hypnotize a spirit? I guess since they had been human at one point in time, that theoretically you probably could.
Yeah.
Well, I have worked with mediums before to hone their trance ability. Well, so if a medium was in trance with a spirit and I hypnotized them, then I could see a possibility. Not that I haven't done it that way, but I mean, I could see where it's a possibility that it could happen.
Okay.
Now,
These are the thoughts that get me out of the really good schools.
Yeah. Well, let's switch gears here just a little bit, and we'll probably come back.
Okay.
We'll probably come back.
in my,
I'm sorry. It looks like Vanessa's trying to say something. She's cutting out. Sorry, Vanessa, we missed it. You're cutting out.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay. No, what I was, one of the things I was curious about talking with you this evening was, you started investigating, with a group in, 1996. You said you got the website up and everything, 97. That's really before, like, all the shows. I think Scariest Places on Earth might have been 98, definitely before Ghost Hunters and all that. So, how was it?
We had sightings and we had unsolved mysteries that were in the early
Well,
90s.
yeah, kind of in the general realm of that, yeah. But they weren't straight up. They weren't straight up paranormal shows.
Don't forget the 70s. You had In Search Of.
In Search Of, yes, yeah. But really, what we kind of consider the modern, ghost hunting show, you were investigating before all of that. So what I'm curious about is, how for you was, doing paranormal investigations back then different than it is today, after now everybody's, seeing what they do on the shows, and, you got all these people out there trying to mimic that and all of that. How was it different during the mid-90s?
It's night and day. Back when I was first starting to do this, as I had said, when in my 20s, I was doing a lot of just observation, and even then, even when you're observing, you have to look at it this way. When you go into a person's house and somebody is talking about that they're having events happen, all right, they live at that house 24/7. All right, you call a team in. There is absolutely no freaking way that in a 4-hour block that they happen to be there at the right place at the right time to capture anything. I don't give a crap who it is.
Right.
All right. I don't care if you go there and you are, if you send a B team to set up cameras for a week before you get out there to work it. It's just not happening. And if it does, it's very rare. A lot of it has to do too with the advance of cameras and recording equipment.
True.
We were using a lot of analog equipment back in the 90s, early 80s.
Yeah, probably more 35 millimeter cameras.
Yeah, 35 millimeter cameras and stuff. And to be honest with you too, to me that's the best evidence. It's hard as hell to fake something on a Polaroid versus something on digital. It just is. That's one thing I always, when I go out and talk to folks, have a safety of analog equipment, because if you capture something digitally and it's on your analog, nobody can argue with you, really.
Right. And we didn't really have Photoshop back then. I mean, there were some early programs, in the early 90s and what have you, but not everybody had access to that like we do now.
No, and to fake it back then, it was artwork. Honestly.
Yeah, you were having to do double exposures and all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of it too. Folks are into when they on the shows. They don't even know. A lot of the teams don't even know who a lot of the forefathers are. If you try to tell somebody, ask them who Peter Green was, or D. Scott Rogo, Lloyd Auerbach, Andrew Nichols, Barry Taff. Nobody knows who these folks are.
Right.
They quote they quote all the TV shows, but they don't know the folks that wrote the books that these guys on the TV shows supposedly had read to do what they're doing, and even the folks that are on TV don't know them.
Right.
How can you know where you've been to know where you're going to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's.
I don't really. I don't know if I answered your question.
That's a great point. It's something that in relation to that, we talk about here from time to time about knowing the background of these, at least the locations that we're going into and the history behind it all. Even with the field itself, learn those sorts of things so that to know where you came from, to get that foundation. So I agree with that.
And investigating, okay. Everybody seems to think, like I just mentioned, the 4-hour block, your investigation's over. It's not that way. I mean, I've been on cases that I've moved into folks' house for a week.
Yeah.
And to try to capture something. It usually has something to do with a child is when I do that. Because you want to try to see what the hell's going on, because like I said, you're dealing with a kid. And I don't know. I don't know how much you want me to rant.
Hey, we have been known
You're
to
good.
rant.
You got the floor.
Yeah, we've been known to rant for a minute, Peter. Don't even worry about that. Quick question as you go into this rant, because I think it's going to pertain to is how, aside from the photography aspect of it, aside from the ease that there now is in order, for people to fake evidence. I mean, you can do it on your damn phone, okay? What has been the main difference?
Phone apps suck.
Oh,
the phone is
preach, honey. Preach. But what is, compared to when you first started and really got into it, aside from the ease of being able to fake evidence, what's the biggest difference that you see now that you didn't see then? You can rant, honey. It's okay.
Have at
it. I'm trying to figure out how to word it.
Honestly, that's all we care about.
Professionalism. There's a lack of professionalism now than there used to be. Folks, when we were in homes, everything was kept confidential. The house is you invest money into your home. You don't want. We never showed up in everybody wearing the same thing and driving up an Ecto one and all this other stuff. Being proud of your team is cool, but when you're dealing with a home in a neighborhood, you want to be. You try to be as quiet as you can, because it's nobody else's business but the people that you're helping. These days, everybody wants to know that, hey, I'm doing this. This is cool. And it's not research. It's entertainment. Most of the people out there are out there for the adrenaline rush, gathering with the same folks, and talking about stuff and having a beer. And it's not research. Research is sitting in a room by yourself in the dark, 12 hours, and getting absolute crap.
Yeah.
That's research.
Yeah. It's perseverance too.
Yeah, and that's not
talking. Yeah, it's not putting everything that you're doing on Facebook, because quite honestly, a researcher really doesn't care about that crap.
But in all honesty, it goes both ways. Not only do teams do that, but people want to believe that their house is haunted.
And that's another thing. I really, since the TV shows, I have really just, I don't bring my team out for just anything anymore. And most of the time, the emails that I get is that, I was watching on TV and Zach said this place has got a demon and my house is doing the exact same thing. And if Zach says it is what it is, then it's haunted. and I'm like, and I try to go through, well, what are you experiencing? Could it be this? Could it be that? And then they get argumentative. Well, it was on TV like that. It's haunted. And I said, well, okay, if you know that's what's going on, why are you calling me since you already have the answers?
Right. Yeah. It sounds like you're already the expert.
So, and I'm not claiming to be the expert, but if you're calling me for help, I have to assess. And a lot of folks don't even do that. Another one is that I get emails saying that they feel like they're possessed and they know the demon's name. And I'm like, well, it doesn't work away. If you need to have a priest come out and do the ritual, then one of the things that, if it is preternatural, is they hang on to that name so they don't. That's their last key to staying here before it's pushed out.
Yeah, having the demon's name is supposed to have power over it. So why would the demon give you its name? That doesn't make sense.
So exactly. I said, so if you know the name, there's got to be another issue. And then when you start asking them about, their if not I don't state it as mental issues, but I mean, their if they've had any if they're seeing a psychiatrist or if they're seeing counseling, seeking counseling. They don't like to hear that either because they just think that that's what's going on, and then they will look for a team that will bolster their belief. And if you go in thinking that the place is haunted and you're looking for evidence to support the haunting, you're doing it wrong. I don't care how much hate email I get. An investigation is you go in and you let the evidence speak for itself, whether it is what you think it is or what it's not. You look for all the other things around it. You don't look for evidence to support a haunting. That's not why you're there.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So
there's.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that there's crap on both sides, and it's all just kind of bolstered by what's on TV. And you and I have had so many discussions about this that, I know we're on the same page on that. Peter, knowing these situations happen on both sides, I mean, what do you do and what do you suggest others do to try to calm that down a bit?
I don't understand the question you're asking me. I mean, you calm down the behavior, or
if the behavior between both homeowners, location owners that charge an exorbitant amount for people to get into, and teens. I mean, what do you do to help that? Or
I don't have a problem with people charging to get into the locations. What I do have a problem with, though, is the fees that they charge. And I can't remember exactly I can't remember prices on some places.
I think it's like $1,200 to get into Waverly or something like that. You have to have a certain number in your group, and it's like
I think one place is $100 per person. You have to have a minimum of 10 to go through. I think that was
stuff like that.
The place. I mean, TV gave them the opportunity to do that. Now, you're not investigating when you have 10 people roaming around a dusty-ass building that is rumored to have activity, which, whether it does or doesn't, the thing is, though, my thought is this, okay? If once you've proven that there's something there, then you're not investigating, it's a tour group.
No. That very well could be. That's an interesting way to put it. Well, I get where you're coming from, because like I helped out with a public investigation down at Old South Pittsburgh Hospital this past weekend, and
I heard that place is pretty hot happening too.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, and there was some mild activity going on this past weekend. It wasn't as hopping, at least this past weekend, as they say it is. But one of the things with the
but you can't blame the location for that.
Well, no,
As
no,
an
no.
energy, things rotate in, things rotate out.
Right.
And and as you had mentioned about the location owners, there's a lot of pressure on them to make something happen. So there's a lot of locations out there that are faking crap too.
Oh yeah, there are. This one, I don't think anything was being faked at all. But you can't make the paranormal happen on demand.
I didn't specifically say that.
No, I didn't. I know you weren't, and I know you weren't.
Yeah.
But you're right that some places do. Because you can't make the paranormal happen on demand. So what happens when you have, a night that is just dead?
Yeah, exactly. You got $1,000 worth of a group coming in, and you have absolutely nothing happening besides getting black lung.
Right.
Yeah. Not black lung, but black.
But there's a part of
I'm sorry.
You broke up,
there's
Vanessa.
a problem with this. I've talked about this on multiple shows. Okay, yeah, I know. I keep breaking up, and so do y'all. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me okay now? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
We talked about this on shows. That is where the problem lies, and this is where I put it straight into the hands of the public. Because we're all smart people. We're all adults, pretty much, who watch this stuff and who are interested in this stuff. And they need to understand that there is a very real possibility that you could pay $60 to $100 and go and spend 4 or 5 hours in a place and not a damn thing happen.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to be okay with that. Because that's their life.
I mean, it's completely, if that's what you want to spend your dollar on, I don't care. But put it for what it is. You're not investigating. It's a tour group.
Even if you're investigating. Well, even if you were investigating, I'm going to.
But you're not. But you're not. You have no controls. All right. You have a guy that's leading you through. You got 10 people. Going through the level that you're on. You're just basically taking pictures and kicking dust around, so everything that you're going to be taking is going to have quote unquote orbs in it. You're not investigating. There's no controls. There's nothing to it other than just going through, because you've heard that there's a phenomena there, or there very well might be phenomena there, and you want the opportunity of experiencing it, which is fine, but it's entertainment. It's not research.
Well, it depends on where you're going. In November, a team that I work with and myself are going to be at West Virginia Penitentiary, not doing a tour. Now, we're paying to do this.
Well, if it's set up that way, then that's cool.
Yeah, we're having full run of the place. That having been said, each and every last one of us, even though we do this, even though this is our field, we know there is a very real possibility that we will go there and spend 4 to 6 hours and not have a damn thing happen.
Well,
and that's what I wish most people would understand, is that can happen. That's just it.
Well, 90% of the time, that's what's going to happen. And we've all done investigations. We all sat in a house for 12 hours and logged down nothing.
Yeah. Well, and Peter, I think I understand where you're coming from, because if you're just going to one of these locations, first time, really, and maybe you can take it from a research perspective, in which you're finding out about the history of the location, what's happened there, and who it is said it is there and is supposed to haunt there. But you can't, in just one sitting, you might be able to get an introduction to a spirit that's there, but you're not going to be able to develop that rapport. It's one of those where you have to keep going back and back and back. And so, that was one of the things when we were doing the investigation this past weekend, that I was trying to talk to about the group that we were with, and we had 6 in our group, so it wasn't too large of a group, but again, you had like many throughout the entire complex. You could hear some of them down the hall or whatever. But in any case, and I try to tell them, introduce yourself, who you are, and because that's about as much as you're going to be able to do in that type of setting. I mean, yeah, you can sit there, you can play with your meters. And we had one guy that had his head buried in an app, because that's what he saw on TV or whatever.
But see, you had control over it though. You weren't in a tour group.
To a degree, yeah. Yeah, to a degree. One of the staff members was there to, kind of tell everybody what had happened in this area of the hospital and all that. So, like I said, to that extent, you're doing a little bit of research, but there's no way you could really develop a relationship with a spirit in that short amount of time to really do any significant investigating and learn about who they are, why they're there, anything about about paranormal supernatural activity, if that's what you're going for, to try to learn about the afterlife or whatever. So I kind of understand what you're saying in that regard. So I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, no, I see where you both are coming from. Most definitely. I have fairly decent luck being at a place for a short amount of time and getting a decent amount of information, but that doesn't mean it's always going to happen that way.
Right.
Have you found, Peter, that when you were going to these locations, if you even still go to these locations,
and to be honest with you, I don't go to those locations. I'd rather put the money into research and equipment. I go to enough. I go to enough homes that I don't need to go to those places.
Okay.
And I'm not taking it away from anybody that does go. It's just that to me, they're kind of a waste of time, my opinion, because if it's already brought up that there is phenomena there, then to me it's not worth going out because it's already done. Now the other part of it too is that you got a lot of folks that want things to happen. They will talk themselves into something happening, and then that also becomes part of the folklore of the place. So you don't know what is happening and what isn't. So I just rather put my $1,000 towards equipment.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's opinions vary on that. For me, it isn't so, because I don't have one piece of equipment. I don't own one piece of equipment except for this bad boy right here, this head, and another.
I understand. Me being a psychologist as well, I look at what we do before throwing out any cameras and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, that is completely true.
Yeah.
But every once in a while you do have to light a house up like a Christmas tree to get what the issue is, and you do that through assessing what's there, so you're not taking out a whole trailer worth of stuff.
Yeah, see, and for me, it is so much less about proving to anybody else that there's a haunting there. I don't, because I asked Mike, I don't give two shits if people believe me or not.
Right.
My goal in going to places that I go is to help those that are there, whether they're living or dead. Period. If people believe right, it's cool. Fuck off, But yeah, and so I mean, even like I haven't hit a lot of the hot spots just because I work. I don't have a lot of chance to do that. But I'm hoping that when I get to that, I will have the same success that I've had at places that are less well known, residentials and other places where people really haven't spent a lot of time. And I mean, that's kind of my goal. So I mean, do you?
Yeah.
Is that how you go into places? I mean, your sole goal is just to help who's ever there, living or dead, or is it solely for scientific purposes?
I want to help out people whenever I go in, whether that's documenting anything that's going on there, or finding out what is going on with the person, and helping them if I need to utilize my hypnosis skills to help them through traumatic events. I do that. So yeah, I mean, it's always about helping folks out. You know, most of the time when I go out and I set stuff up, you know, it's either misidentified, it's either misidentified or it's structural stuff, usually, and that's going on in the home, unless they're manifesting, you know, RSPK in the home. So yeah, I mean, I'm all for helping folks out. If there's something intelligent there, you know, I've been part of more than my share of using mediums to pass people. So yeah, I mean, it just really depends on what type of hat you need to wear.
Yeah, I don't Sorry. I thought that shit was funny. But no,
I didn't hear you.
yeah.
Yeah, you kind of broke up a little bit.
You're absolutely right. Now, has there ever been a situation where it appears that the living person in the home, is manifesting or bringing all this on themselves, but it actually does turn into a haunting, but whatever the trauma that they've had in their life that caused this to be, that they actually drew it to them. They weren't causing it, but they drew the spirits to them. Do you find that?
I've had place memory in a home happen, and it triggered recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis on somebody, and they were manifesting at the same time. So yes, there's layers. There's layers going on in a home sometimes. Most of what I've experienced has been place memory. If I'm dealing with something that's of a haunting nature, having something intelligent is it's a lot more rare than what people are always saying. That they've got ghosts walking around. It's usually place memory. But what was
I'm surrounded freaking out all the time, dude. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I mean, that's what I do. I said I'm surrounded all the time. All the time.
I can see that.
Yeah. Hey, Peter, we have a question from the chat room. This is from Sean Gilmore. It's really a very general question. He says, in your opinion, what is the best way to investigate?
Best way to investigate is having an open mind when you go in and looking at all possibilities. Don't go in, as I stated before, don't go in trying to support a haunting. Go in there to find out exactly what's going on in the home, and the evidence will point to what it is.
Okay. We have a second question. I hope that answered Sean's question. We have a second question from Real Paranormal Activity, the podcast. So go check out their channel as well. And Sean Gilmore was from EVP Paranormal, so they have a great channel. Check them out. But from Real Paranormal Activity, the podcast, it says, my favorite question is, why take video in the dark?
Is he talking about dead time?
Yeah. Just turn on it says turn on the dang lights so you can capture some good clear video.
Well, I've had a phenomena happen in the day as well as in the night.
Oh yeah.
Now, phenomena happens everywhere, especially due to us being psychic ourselves. We pick up things all the time. Now, as far as the day versus night thing, on TV it's dramatic. Okay. Now, using your infrared equipment at night, during when it's more quieter, I can see why people do it that way. But as I said, you can capture stuff during the day too, and you can use your infrared camera too during the day. I wouldn't use it for long periods of time because you could have a tendency to burn out the filter if it's used too long. But yeah, you can do that.
I have a question for you, kind of a follow-up to that, my own question. Talking with a lot of people over the past couple of years, they're actually, it seems like they're starting to move away from IR cameras. They were saying, we set up all this equipment, all this infrared technology, and we're not getting anything. We're noticing that when we just have a regular camera and maybe some flashlights or whatever, that during the day, like you're saying, that we're picking up more on video. So do you see that as a trend that more people are starting to get away from IR?
Well, if you're picking it up, on video, you're still using cameras that are IR. You're just not using static cams.
Okay. Well, I think they're.
Yeah. So.
I think they're saying they're using a regular camera rather than an IR camera. They don't have the IR lights or anything. It's just a regular video camera.
Well, you can get phenomena with a regular camera.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You're going to get more of the physicality with a regular camera versus an IR because the IR light tends to reflect mass more than invisible mass versus a regular camera. But I set up. I hate to call them this, but the Bigfoot cams. You go out and put them out for a look at animals.
Yeah.
I put that stuff up around houses all the time, and to try to capture the physicality of a haunting.
Like deer cams?
Yeah, deer cams.
Yeah, deer cams. Hey, my family's hunters. I know what you're talking about. Now, I have honestly found that I get as much, if not more, evidence during the day than I do at night. Is that uncommon? Or
that happens to me as well. I've gone out to houses during the day, and I've personally seen physical movement in homes during the day. I've seen physical movement at night. It should really kind of depends on when either the availability of the house is or when you want to do it. In all honesty, it's just it tends to be more dramatic though on TV when you're doing it at night. And and another thing that I'm probably going to get hate mail over. I'm not really big into having folks screaming at things in the middle of the night. Trying to provoke.
Oh no, not provoking.
To me,
we're not happy about provoking either.
Yeah, it's more dramatic when you do that. You can get just as much data as observing, and setting your cameras up in the right places if that's where the trends are. That is where the event is, versus running around and screaming at things.
Yeah, that pisses me off because that's somebody's grandparent or kid or uncle or something. Treat them with some damn respect. That pisses me off like nobody's business, I will straight up yell.
Well, it pisses me off too, but also if you're dealing, these groups that go on TV, the places, the people that go in there and use this. First of all, if they're asking a TV or anybody to come in and look at a situation that is really bad, it's already a bad situation. So coming in and stirring up the energies by yelling at them, and then leaving after you get your shots or not, you have now left them in a worse situation than they were when they called.
Yep.
Yes, it makes you a dick.
Yes.
There you go, Vanessa.
It makes you a dick. Because there's no reason for that.
Yeah, and I've heard horror stories from families that have brought us in before that talked about a previous team that had been in there and did that sort of thing, and then they had all holy hell break loose after they left. Yeah.
I know, and you're like, where are you at now?
Yeah, and there's absolutely no aftercare. In all honesty, the only aftercare you could do with something like that is probably bring a medium in to try to bring it down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we're orking and come in and try to spray for bugs. It just doesn't work that way.
Right.
Oh, it really
Yeah,
doesn't.
we're
And
not
honestly, when they do that, when they aggravate and they antagonize and they provoke, they make it 10 times harder on somebody like myself that's having to go in after the fact. 10 times harder, because that pissed off entity or spirit or ghost or whatever now has a whole other person that they can use as an outlet for their anger. And that's not so much fun, people, so just don't do that shit, because I don't like it. Or if you do it, don't call me. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
that was fun.
Yeah.
That was a little rant.
Vanessa telling it like it is. That's all good. This is the internet. You can say dick.
And I said it, what, 4 times at least?
Yeah, I know. You're allowed to do that.
I haven't said it.
That's
Nobody laughed when I did.
You've been pretty restrained, Peter. I mean, I know some of your opinions, and I think you've held it together pretty well. That's good.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be a dick.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, okay? yeah. It's no, try not to be a dick. That's the thing. I'm your life coach. All right, that was fun. Oh shit, Mike, it's 9:30.
It is. Yeah, 10:30 here. So our hour is just about up. So, yeah. So Peter, how can people find you and find out more information about who you are, what you do, all of that stuff?
Sure. They can find me at lsspi.org or redoakhypnosis.com.
Okay, so you are doing, I guess, people can hire you for the hypnosis sessions and all that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I do
Quit smoking?
PTSD, stuff like, quit smoking, weight loss, stress management, anxiety. Yeah, I do it all.
Okay, great. So that was, you said it was lsspi.org.
.org.
Okay.
Redoakhypnosis.com.
Fantastic. So everybody, you better go check it out.
I might holler at you for the whole smoking thing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, Vanessa will smoke on the show.
I just gotta be me.
Gotta be you. All right. So let's get to our Mad Hatters. They've had a pretty good chat going on. So let's show everybody.
Yeah.
So, and we do want to thank Peter for coming out this evening. We'll give him a send off here in just a few minutes. But let's go through, of course, Shana, our chat Shananigator. It just said Skype has stopped working. Did I just lose them both? I think I just lost them both. What in the world? Hang on a second. Let me try to bring them back. That is not good. I switched over to you guys and it killed the killed Skype on me. Computer issues. Okay. So anyways, I was going to do the Mad Hatters real quick. This is the wrong Skype. Yeah, poof. Poof, it did all go poof. It's also the wrong one. I have like 3 versions of Skype on here. It's a little ridiculous. Okay, so let's go through the Mad Hatters. I'll try to get them here in a minute. And so, yes, I wanted to thank Shana for doing everything that she does down in the chat room. It's always fantastic. And there we go. That's the right one. Linz was here this evening. Thank you. Still there. Tammy Heitzman, thank you very much. Real Paranormal Activity, the podcast. It is real talk, no bullshit. That's right. Sean Gilmore, Ectovision Paranormal, thank you for dropping in. I always appreciate that. Let me try to get them back. Who else we got? Donna Gorton, thank you for joining us this evening. Scalatea, as always. And here comes Vanessa back. Yeah, Vanessa, it just like totally blew up. Let me see if I can get...
he said he would come back on another time too, so, I'm sure it's fine. He had a good time.
All right. So, well, we'll wrap it up then. Yeah, it just like totally went poof, gone.
Louie.
Yeah, kaplooey. I switched over to the chat and it just, Skype died on my machine. So, don't blame me. So right now I'm going through our Mad Hatters. Bethany Ward, thank you for dropping in this evening. Robert White from Australia, thank you. Ether Shadow, really appreciate it. Angels Hoosier Nook. That's an interesting name. Angels Hoosier Nook. So, okay, it sounds like a YouTube channel. So, but I guess her name is Angela. Well, thank you for stopping in.
I can't see it. It's so blurry.
Yeah. So who else we got? Andrew Cox. I think I already said Andrew. Jared Osborne. Thank you for stopping in tonight. It's Paranormal Endeavors in the house. Who else do we have? Adam Tillery stopped in. Thank you, Adam. We check out his artwork. Great stuff. Joanne Rubino, thank you for your question earlier this evening. Diane Hilbert, thank you. Pretty sure I already said Donna Gorton. And let me see if I can get at least one or two more. C-Star, thank you. And anybody else?
Yes, Cowboy was in there if you didn't get him.
Yeah, he was.
Okay, I don't know if, was Stephen Curry in tonight?
I don't know. But Cowboy was, yeah.
Okay.
Alright, well, there we did. If we missed your shout out, we apologize. It's a little hard to get everybody. Let me adjust Vanessa here real quick, because right now you're just seeing her eyes.
Yeah, but that looked kind of itching, didn't it?
It did. It was just your eyes. It was pretty cool. Alright. One thing I did want to do here, let me bring it up. I'll go to, where am I going? I'll go to the t-shirt idea. Okay. I'm going to show you Vanessa's tattoo. So, and the t-shirt idea didn't pop up. So I guess I'll go back to, you know what? I'll go to Ghosty.
Because I'm not dropping my pants to show everybody on here.
Well, no. Okay, there's Ghosty. So if you haven't picked up your Ghosty, go ahead. But let me go ahead and add in Vanessa's tattoo so everybody can see Vanessa's tattoo. So, there it is. Let me bring it in. I'll expand that a little bit.
Check out those sexy freckles.
We're all mad here, yes. Vanessa's mad freckles.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's her Mad Hatter tattoo. So that's some respect right there. She's respecting you guys, the Mad Hatters, with that. So, yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yep.
I loved it too. It was fun. It hurt like a bitch. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
It hurt. That is not fake, y'all. That was real. My blood, sweat, and a couple of little droplets of tears.
Yeah.
Are invested in y'all. So buy your damn t-shirt. I love you. Mwah.
Okay, so we got the throw out the t-shirts again. Okay, hauntedroadmedia.com. Go to the shop. There it is. If we do not have your size listed, because I know that may happen, because we got smalls, medium, large, extra large, and I had already special ordered one because I knew ahead of time. But if you have a size that we don't have listed, when we do the next order, I will make sure to have that size ordered. So just hit me up with your size, and I'll make sure that size gets ordered the next go around. So I hope that takes care of that for anybody who needs a different size. But if you want that, and it's a cool deal. You guys all like the design, so we got them done.
And they're sexy.
Yeah, they are. The one thing that's a little different is the type here is pink instead of purple. I don't know what happened there, but that'll work for now. So yeah, hauntedroadmedia.com. Just go to the shop.
They still sexy.
Yeah, they are. And of course, you got your Ghosty out there. And of course, anybody who hasn't yet, please subscribe to the channel, of course, So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think that about does it for tonight, right?
I think we're good.
Anything
I need
else?
to take a shower and walk my dog because damn.
Because
Okay.
damn. Because
Damn.
damn.
Okay.
So, and Tammy Heisman says she thinks the pink looks boss. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're sassy.
Now, I mean, I'm fine with the pink. I just wanted the little splash of color in there when I put it together, and I went with purple originally because I like the black on purple, like Shauna's black amethyst hair. That yeah, it's kind of what I was going for. So all right,
I like it.
so that'll do it for this evening. Yeah, and Robert White, I know you had asked about international shipping because you're in Australia. I can set that up. I'll let you know when I have Australia in there. Right now I have Canada and the UK set up. So I can also do that for Australia. Yeah. And yeah, like Shana said, let's get to 3,000 subscribers because we will do another giveaway at 3,000. So share out the channel and all of that great stuff. So that'll do it. All right, everybody. I'm Mark Ricksecker. This is Vanessa Hogle for Shana, our chat Shananigator, down in the chat room. All you Mad Hatters, you guys are awesome. You rock. Have a good night.
Bye.